The number one, most frustrating, most maddening, most disheartening phrase uttered still today, again and again and again by conventional pediatricians to parents is this: don't worry, they'll grow out of it. It's normal. No, it's not. Moms, dads, you know in your gut that when your brand new baby is up all night, screaming, crying, colicky, uncomfortable, arching their back, constipated, eczema, growing into chronic ear infection, sensory processing disorder, constant sinus congestion, frequent respiratory infections and immune challenges, missed milestones, speech delays, sensory tantrums, meltdowns, challenges with transitions, and maybe continuing 3-4 years into their journey growing into an autism spectrum diagnosis, ADHD, anxiety, sensory processing disorder. You knew all along that phrase, don't worry, they'll grow out of it, probably wasn't true, and it's not. We now know there is research after research, along with our clinical experience for 15 plus years. I have been so frustrated by this phrase that conventional pediatricians still tell parents to use, and what they do is it's a get out of jail free, kind of kick the can down the road, let's just wait and see approach, which is really kind of funny, not funny at all, because they're supposed to use a wait and see approach for ear infections and respiratory infections because most of them are viral, so they shouldn't be prescribed antibiotics. But still today, millions of kids are unnecessarily prescribed antibiotics, which destroys their gut, which destroys their microbiome, which leads to more neuroimmune gut-brain connections, and also further increases the risk of them growing into these neurosensory challenges. I'm 1 minute in, and I may seem like I'm ranting, but I'm going to get into the science and the research that shows us and tells us that we've known for 15 to 20 years that we can't just keep saying that. Don't worry, they'll grow out of it. That we know something else is going on. So moms and dads, when your little one is sick all the time, when your little one is having sensory, speech, gross motor, fine motor challenges, and sensory issues, and you're wondering what the heck is going on, you're just like Ruby's parents. Now, thankfully, Ruby's parents listened to their gut instead of their conventional pediatrician, and they did further research. They asked around, they got online, and they found out that these challenges of a stressed out, stuck, off-track nervous system then leads to issues with the gut, issues with the ears, issues with milestones and motor development. And so it's not that kids grow out of colic, they grow into chronic gut issues. It's not that kids grow out of missed milestones, they grow into sensory and spectrum disorders. And so for their little one, Ruby, who would go from 0 to 100 in a hot minute, they knew something more was going on than just, oh, she's being a kid, it's the terrible twos. And they learned and found out about neurologically-focused chiropractic care, which is a very special form of pediatric chiropractic care that can get into the root cause of what's really going on with your child's nervous system, make sense of it for you, and connect the dots and say, hey, if we don't get this addressed, if we don't get this neurological, this neurosensory stress, dysfunction out of the way for your kiddo, it's much more likely they will grow into other challenges instead of simply growing out of it. So what's really going on? Well, the truth is these challenges are all connected to one singular system, the nervous system. It's the central and autonomic nervous system that controls digestive motility, absorption, and elimination. It's the nervous system that controls the respiratory system, the drainage, the plumbing from the ears, the lymphatics, the lungs, and so forth. It's the nervous system that controls the immune system and helps us regulate inflammation and components of that key system. And it's also the nervous system that controls our sensory processing and our neurodevelopmental system. So behavior, focus, transitions, emotional regulation. So it may look like and be called colic and digestive issues in an infant, but we now know that the vast majority of kids with autism diagnoses later on in life, guess what? They have chronic constipation, chronic gut inflammation. They still have those colic, reflux, indigestion challenges, same as they get sick all the time with the immune challenges, same as their motor challenges are still there. It's all linked to the nervous system. Now, going back one step further so you get the full picture of why kids don't grow out of it, but instead grow into these things, is there's these early onset and triggers of what we call the perfect storm that can go as far back as a stressful, maybe high risk, high anxiety pregnancy that can lead mom's nervous system to being stressed out, which can alter the development of the baby's nervous system and leave it more likely to be stuck in this sympathetic fight or flight storm that we're talking about throughout this whole video. And the second trigger of this perfect storm is birth interventions. We find again and again that a colicky baby or a stressed out, constipated, chronically sick toddler or a 3-year-old struggling with sensory, speech, and spectrum and ADHD challenges, they all have a common denominator of a greater incidence of birth interventions. Forceps, vacuum, emergency C-section, induction. A lot of those kiddos end up with so much physical stress, yanking, twisting, pulling on their neck and their brainstem, and that is where all of these crucial neurological functions and organizations, if you will, are really controlled by. We call that area air traffic control of the body. And so what happens when that area is physically triggered and injured through this part of the perfect storm, now it shuts down something called the vagus nerve. Now, the vagus nerve controls digestion. The vagus nerve controls regulation. The vagus nerve controls speech. The vagus nerve controls social emotional regulation. The vagus nerve is the one thing that is there dysfunctional, or what we call subluxated and interfered with in colicky, fussy, hard to latch, hard to digest babies. And it's still there later on when kiddos are struggling with sensory behavior and emotional challenges. Now, the other thing, the vagus nerve, and the third element of the perfect storm is just early and often exposure to toxins, medications, and especially antibiotics. We know that when a child is given multiple rounds of antibiotics in that first 1 to 2 years of life, heck, even just 1 or 2 rounds of antibiotics, it really disrupts the brain-gut and gut-brain connection, and it leads them much more likely to grow into neurological challenges as well as autoimmune chronic health challenges. So out of the perfect storm, those 3 factors, a high stress pregnancy, birth interventions, and trauma, and then the early and overuse of antibiotics and other toxins, that's what causes a child to grow into these neurophysiological dysfunctions that just get different names, different diagnoses as we go along. So you may have tried all the things to help all of your child's challenges. Maybe if they are struggling with sensory, you've tried OT. Maybe if they are struggling with ADHD, you've tried reward charts or behavior. Maybe if they're struggling with their gut, you've tried probiotics and diet changes and detoxes. Maybe if they're struggling with their immune system, you've tried all sorts of vitamins and supplements to boost it and get it back online. Just those things alone are a multitude of individual challenges or individual systems that can all be linked to the nervous system. They can all be linked to this vagus nerve dysfunction, subluxation, and the conversation we're having here that shows us neurologically, kids don't grow out of these challenges, they grow into chronic health challenges later on. Comment below, send us a DM, follow those links, and learn more about these terms we introduced here with this video that will finally make sense of that feeling, that wondering you've had deep down in your gut all along. Is something more going on? And if yes, what the heck is it? And what the heck can I do to help my child and address the real root cause with drug-free, natural care options? That's what we're here to deliver. Anything you need, DM, comment, click the links. We got you. You got this.